Hello and welcome to Ghoulish. I am Max Booth, a host, and today I am talking with Jessica McHugh about a new book of Blackout poetry titled A Complex Accident of Life. Now, what the hell is Blackout poetry? What the hell is this book? Who the hell is Jessica McHugh? These questions and more will be answered on today's episode, so I guess you better listen. I guess you need to listen to the episode. How are you doing? Before I left Facebook, it was like you broke your fucking neck. What was going on with you?
Yeah, I'm on my 8th week now. I got a pinched nerve, which I guess happened in combination with my whiplash injury from the car accident a few years ago, and I was doing handstands and headstands, and then my job was scooping fucking ice cream. So all that just fucked up my neck so crazy that I was sitting at the computer one day and all of a sudden it felt like I was Caesar. All of a sudden people were just stabbing me all over. It was crazy. And I was literally in screaming pain, couldn't stop crying, it was awful.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it was, and now I feel a lot better, but still it's very clear that I have more healing to do. And I'm not scooping ice cream.
Yeah, no more ice cream.
No.
Did that affect were you writing at all? Or was it just I guess I'm just screaming now and that's my life?
Yeah, for weeks that was it. But then because the Blackout poetry book was coming out, I had to remake poems that I sold. And my arm, it was wouldn't work. So I kind of had to, I had some very painful poems to make, and Dave helped me too.
So how did you just go back to photos you had posted to refresh what you had made?
That for a couple of them, yeah, but mostly I had scanned all of them before I sold them, but I didn't scan them at high enough resolution for a book because I didn't know a book was going to exist. I was just I'm just saving these for, posterity. I made them. I really didn't think I was going to have to scan them at such a high resolution. So I had to go back and do that.
For those listening who have no idea what we're talking about, can you explain what Blackout poetry is?
Yeah. So it's basically taking an existing piece of prose, or it can be a novel, it can be an instruction manual for VCR. It's really just taking anything and trying to find a hidden poem within that piece. And I haven't done it to poetry. I did it to Macbeth recently, which was pretty daunting. But yeah, it's looking for a hidden poem, or I like to think a lot of them almost sound like flash fiction.
Yeah, absolutely. Now I'm going to admit my ignorance now, but is this something you invented?
No, no, not at all. I meant to look up and try to find. I was just thinking about this today. I was I don't know who any of my Blackout poetry forebears are. No, I didn't. I had a Blackout poem on my wall for years leading up to this, which was, I don't know exactly who made it, whether it was John Edward Lawson or Jennifer Barnes, but I got it as a gift from them at like a Raw Dog Screaming Press writers retreat. It was like in the gift bag, and I loved it so much. It's been on my wall forever. And I had tried Blackout poetry once before with a Game Informer magazine, because I was like, oh, here's something, like, and I tried it and it did not work at all. And yeah, just randomly last year when I was having financial issues, a bunch of people stepped up and donated and really helped us out. Like, we were being kicked out of our home of 11 years, and like, people really helped us out, and they didn't want anything like in return, but I thought it would be nice to just go make things for people. So I went to the dollar store and picked up a Shirley Jackson book of stories and essays, and I guess I just picked up the right thing, because I really took to it and had so much fun finding poems within her words.
Now, I don't know how easy this would be to talk about, because, like, going with standard prose, if someone said, okay, how do you film sentences? I would go, I don't know, I just do it. So, with this Blackout poetry, what is the method of...
It is tough. It is very much like a feeling kind of thing. But I like to start with anything that's like, I am a, or women are blank. You know, you kind of look for like similes or metaphors, like one entire like thought you can create, and also, you know, is poignant and means a little something, or is just ridiculous and funny. Yeah, it's just kind of a feeling. And sometimes you do get like halfway through and you're like, oh, this is beautiful. I know exactly how I want this to end. And then the end of the page gives nothing to you.
Do you do it with pencil in the beginning so you can erase if you need to backtrack?
Yeah, I gotta do pencil. Or sometimes I'll take a picture of it and do it on my phone. If like I'm in the middle of it and have to like take a shit or something. So I take a picture and be like, no.
That's how the best poems are written, I think.
I think, I mean, a lot of my books were written on the shitter, so I feel like it works. It's difficult with pencil, because depending on the book you're using, you just can't erase that many times. You're going to strip the ink and stuff like that, or, you know, put a hole in it. So I know Fahrenheit 451 was extremely hard to do and mess up on, because the book I was using was old.
I would love to see a Blackout poem of that book with the pages all like ashy and kind of crispy.
Yeah, I would like to do that, but I feel like the copy I have is a little old. It would just completely go up. But a lot of the ones I did from that were fiery looking.
Right. That's cool.
And I know I sold one to somebody who they went on Etsy and got like a frame that had been made out of a fire hose, and that's what they used to frame it.
Well, that's cool. Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's like the coolest thing someone could do with something that you can make.
Exactly. I love that picture so much.
Yeah. You'll have to show it to me when we're done, because I have to see this.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Have you gotten any feedback from kind of like pretentious people? Like, you can't damage a book.
I mean, I have gotten that comment a couple of times. I'd be saying it's like ruining it or like destroying it. And I'm like, I mean, it's mine. It's my book. I'm not like going up to your house, taking your book and doing, you know. Yeah, especially when that whole thing about like the person who ripped his books in half to take them on a hike, when that was going around and people were like, how dare you?
Oh yeah, I was okay with that.
I'm like, what? Like, remember that controversy, that 2-day controversy?
Yeah, I do. Was it Infinite Jest he had ripped in half?
And I was like, keep ripping, bud.
Yeah. That needs to be like 10 volumes.
It was something. I was just like, I don't have, it's your book.
I'm just
like, who cares?
They
You
could
paid
rip
the
it
money
in half.
for it. Yeah.
I don't know if I could rip a big book in half. I don't have that kind of
No,
strength.
no, I definitely could. I mean, even when I'm tearing the pages, like I'll mark off the page. I'm like, this is beautiful. Now I have to tear the page out of the book. And I've definitely done ones where I completely rip the page in half, and I'm like, ah. But then recently I did what I ripped it by accident when I was taking it out of the book, and I just sewed the pages back together, and it worked with the poem. So
Oh, that would now I'm trying to imagine what that would look like, and it probably benefited it. Yeah.
yeah, I'm trying to remember whose poem it was from. It was a small press horror book. It was like a lamplight or something. But yeah, it was really good. I forget who it was. Dang it.
Do you do you go shopping now, like at used bookshops, specifically looking for potential blackout poem sources?
I I don't anymore because people just give them to me now.
That's great. You've become the person to send
Yeah.
books to get
Just
destroyed.
but when I do commissions, either if I have the book on hand, that's great. If there's a specific book they want to do, it's kind of like included in the commission price. It's like I can either go out and buy it or you can send me a copy. So now I just have a bunch of like half books.
If someone wanted to get a commission from me, what would they have to do?
I do have forms on my website, jessicamchugh.books.com, and I have some poems already up there for sale. Or you can just, send me an email or DM me or whatever. I'm pretty easygoing about the whole thing. I did get to take, like my husband didn't have a job for a while, so I was like making constantly and trying to sell stuff. So I'm taking a little bit of a break. I'm only have like 17 projects right now, but I will be taking commissions again soon.
As soon as you get down to 16.
Yeah, then I'll be free as a bird.
Well, let's talk about this book. How did this happen?
Honestly, I just started making stuff from Frankenstein, which was funny because the first time I tried to do blackout poetry from Frankenstein, it did not work at all. I did not like what I came up with. I think that original one might still be in my original book, but I think it was a couple weeks later when I just moved into the apartment I'm in now, and I wanted to make a thank you gift for the woman who got us the apartment. And I picked up Frankenstein. I found something immediately and loved it and gave it to her, and then had to recreate that one. There's that I didn't even scan. And then I just kept going, and I had said it. I think at one point when I had created like 20 or so from it, I was like, I do have enough for a book, but I mean, they're all like a lot of them are about like monster and creation and mother and father. Like there's a very clear theme in Frankenstein that pops up, and a lot of reoccurring words. So I really didn't know how that would work put all together, if it would be too repetitive. But Jacob Haddon of Apocrypha, he contacted me and said, would you be interested in putting together a blackout poetry collection? And I think at that point he was just kind of open to whatever. And I said, well, I do have a bunch of Frankensteins. I could keep doing Frankensteins. And but most of them were made by the time like we were like, okay, let's do this.
I imagine at this point Frankenstein's in the public domain, right?
It is. So, because I had done a bunch from Bell Jar and stuff like that, but that was not going to be a possibility.
Yeah.
And Frankenstein I just loved a lot of the poems in it. And when I was like, okay, so how am I going to arrange them all? I first did by page order and didn't need to do anything else because like the page order worked perfectly and it tells its own kind of story. And I had no idea I think I ended up cutting one poem from it that just didn't fit. And yeah, there ended up with 52 pieces.
The title, A Complex Accident of Life, that's also from the book, right?
Yes, that is from the poem that is framed on my wall because it felt like It felt like a birthday poem. It was like the middle of November, complex accident of life. And November 15th is my birthday. So I was like, this is a me poem.
Such a great title.
Thank you. I mean, it feels like a Frankenstein thing. It feels like how the book came about. It feels like why the pictures in the book look different. Some of them are scans. Some of them are photographs because apparently you can't scan neon.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Shit.
so there were some poems. Yeah. They came out looking like I had done nothing to them at all.
Oh, wow.
So we had to figure a little something out during, Jacob and I do not live that far apart. So had it not been a pandemic, this probably would have been a lot easier problem to solve. So we were going to be like sending poems back and forth. Eventually we just went with pictures, and they're not uniform, but what on Frankenstein is.
Exactly. It adds to the theme of Frankenstein because they all look so different, and they've all been bound together in one book. It's pretty almost poetic.
Yeah, I'm really jazzed about this release. I mean, I had no idea that it was going to come about, a year ago when I started doing it, or that I would love Blackout poetry so much. And it was funny because when adult coloring books came back in, I was like, ugh, who wants to do that? But somehow, like the Blackout poetry, it's soothing to me, even though I'd much rather find the poems than color them, to be honest.
I can understand that. How did the front cover? What was the front cover discussion like?
Oh my gosh, really? You've worked with me on, so I never know what a cover is supposed to look like. I have no clue ever. Jacob was just he was talking to Lynn Hansen, and she got a copy of the book and read through it, and she interpreted it as she saw it, and apparently used I think it was like an 1851 copy of Frankenstein, or 1854 copy of Frankenstein, and found those words, a complex accident of life, in the book, and cut them out and put them together, and used like anatomical drawings from that era. And that was all her.
Wow.
That was her own genius. And it is just gorgeous. I seriously teared up when I saw it, because I had absolutely no idea what to expect. She knocked it out of the park.
I would say out of all the books you've had published, this is the best cover. It
is my number one favorite cover, although Train Derails in Boston is a close second. Because there's so much to see.
That cover is amazing to look at. I no longer...
I love that, I think I signed off on that cover. I'm like, this is great, and I hadn't even seen the people fucking on it.
You just said that, and I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, okay. Well, good. There are a few.
I am now
like a
Googling.
Magic guy. You got to get real close to it.
Are you serious? I have no idea.
What a Train Derails in Boston. No.
Good God. Oh wait, yeah, on the building itself, right?
Yes.
Okay.
On the on the little on the tiles.
That's right. I haven't looked at this cover in a long time. I'm looking at it now, and it's insane. I don't know how this even happened anymore. Like, no one could tell someone, this is what I want you to draw. Yeah.
That's why I kind of prefer just being like, I have no idea. Just read what I wrote and guess the cover. Whatever cover comes to your mind from that, because I have zero clue ever.
Have you made any Blackout poetry from books that you've written?
I haven't yet. The only thing I've done, the author's note in A Complex Accident of Life, is I did Blackout poetry too.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Because it was the only page in the book without a piece opposite it. And Jake was just like, it looks weird not having a Blackout poem next to it. So he's like, why don't you black out your own words here? And I was like, I'll do that because that's awesome. So that's the only one I've done, but I mean, I definitely would like to do it. I should now that I have printer ink after 3 years.
I'm curious to see how that is for you, like doing it on something that you've written. I wonder if that will make it easier or somehow more difficult.
That's a good question, because I mean, I usually don't read the page before I do it. So knowing what's going to be on the page would be slightly scary. So I got to pick up something that like I wrote when I was like 19 or something and is now probably very problematic.
Yeah, just some MySpace manifesto. I don't know.
Yeah, my live journal.
Okay, I think that's all I got. Do you have anything extra to add about Blackout poetry?
No, just that, I'm probably going to open for commissions again soon, and I like making weird shit, so.
What's Jacob's website to buy this book?
It's apocrypha.com. It's apokrupa.com. And it should be right there. The ebook I know you can get straight from the website, but print is only available through Amazon right now.
Mm-hmm. I will link to both of them in the show notes. And I'm so glad you have told me how to say the name of his company, because for many years... I
think that's right.
I have avoided trying to say it because I have no fucking idea.
Yeah, I hope that's right. I think that's right.
Sounds good to me. I didn't even have a guess.
Yeah. I think it was like I do with most things where I don't know how to pronounce the author's name or the publishing company's name. I try to find a podcast where the person themselves says their name.
That's a great idea. All right. How can folks find you online?
I'm at jessicamchughdbooks.com. I'm on Instagram and Twitter at the Jess McHugh. And I have a Patreon. It's the Jess McHugh, where I do stories, and I mail. If it's $10 a month, you get a Blackout poem from me in the mail every month, which I'm kind of running out. Probably not Frankenstein ones for now, but I got Draculas and stuff.
Do you plan on doing a new book?
I mean, I would like to. I certainly have enough Dracula.
I would love like a volume for each like famous monster. That'd be fucking cool.
That would be pretty rad. I would like that too. And I mean, now I'm going to get into that territory of I did not scan things enough again. But now I'm scanning everything at high enough resolution, but pretty sure the Draculas have fallen victim to that as well. We'll see.
Well, thank you for coming on the show, and congratulations on the new book.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right. Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Ghoulish. If you liked today's episode, why don't you go and rate and review us on iTunes. You can support us on Patreon at patreon.com/PMMpublishing. My new novel, Touch the Night, is out right now, so if you like books about small towns and corrupt police and spooky demon shit, well, you better go get that book. Also go pick up Thrill on the Video by Michael David Wilson, and you can pre-order the new novella from Paul Michael Anderson titled Standalone over at perpetualpublishing.com. You better do it. Don't miss these books. Don't miss it.
Spooky! Die, Spooky!